everybody. Hey, boo. So the hair is giving, girl. I love it. Yeah, so I am the wife of an amazing man, pilot, pastor, jazz artist, Ben Tankard. We have five amazing children. We have a blended family. He already have four. I've got one. We actually had a really successful reality show on Bravo for 3 seasons. We came on right after Housewives of Atlanta, where we basically pushed our children to be entrepreneurs and, just trying to blend the family together, which is not always easy. But God's grace was amazing. We did really well on that. And then I'm a real estate investor and really passionate about investing, and particularly in the city of Detroit. But the principles are literally nationwide. You really can do anything, anywhere where real estate is concerned. And Benaisha and I met through another really good mutual friend, and we just kind of hit it off as sisters right away. A lot of the same core values. She's aggressive. She's hungry. She loves God. She loves people. She loves her family, and definitely about that bag. Okay. And we are definitely about that and want to see more people really have a successful real estate investing career. And one thing that Benaisha and I both totally agree on, investing in real estate, I'm not going to even act like it's easy. Okay. Because it's not, but it's definitely very possible. And it's very, very rewarding. Right. And so we want to be able to come on here and give you guys live tea of kind of what's happening in the real estate market right now and why we think now is really the time. But Isha, can you believe we're already halfway through the year,
Yeah,
girl?
yeah, yeah. It's crazy. June. It's 2026 because right now 2025 is halfway over, right?
Yeah,
It's crazy.
basically, like so the decisions that we make right now today are really going to set you up for what your holiday looks like, what it looks like going into 2026. And I think that the wealth gap is becoming wider and wider, should I say? Like, so now is really the time. Benaisha has a very successful bank. We've done a lot of deals with her bank. She's been instrumental in really helping me to lock down some multifamilies in the city of Detroit. We're also going to be together August 16th and 17th in Detroit. Get your tickets to that. You can get on JillTankardEvents.com to do that. Benaisha will be there in the building. But Benaisha, we've got some stuff going on with the feds right now. And I think there are some people, either new investors or maybe even more seasoned investors, that are sitting back and kind of trying to wait. But I think you got to get the property, and you wait with strategy in the property, but you don't wait to get the property. So you want to talk about kind of what's happening with the feds right now and interest rates?
Yes. So the Feds met and they have not changed anything. They've decided to stand and hold fast on where the rates are today. And so there were absolutely no changes, which was predicted
Mm,
in the market.
wow.
Jerome Powell, which he is the head chairman that runs and makes decisions and publicly voices that to us. And so nothing has changed. So what does that mean for the normal person? Is that the interest rates are not going to change anytime soon for buying a
Mm,
home. So as we're continuing to watch how the markets
wow.
really work, what happens is the Fed rate will basically change our normal interest rates of things like credit cards and stuff
Mm,
like that. And then it trickles down to the 10-year treasury yield, which affects mortgages. And so if the
wow.
Fed rate doesn't change, typically the treasury doesn't change. And so they
Mm,
balance each other, even though they're two different things. One definitely works off the other. So just expect that there are no changes coming down the pipe at any time soon
no
for the interest rate.
changes.
Nope. Right now, the rates are running between low 5 and 6%. And then for investment properties that where they're running to about 7%. For commercial properties right now, interest rates are running between 6 to 8%. It depends on what you're buying and what you're financing. So at this particular moment, focus on yourself, people. Stop worrying about when is the best time to do X, Y, Z. The best time is when you jump in. It's like double dutch. It's never going to be the right time for anything. You can't time the perfect day to have a baby. You can't time the perfect day
Mm,
to die, right? So at the end
mm,
of the day, it's all going to be what it is. If you're interested in real estate, now is the time to get into the market actively.
mm, mm. So that's I mean, and you got to settle that, because sometimes people are sitting back and waiting and saying, okay, and I'm typing in for you guys now so you can join us for the field trip in August 16th and 17th. But you got to really kind of be thinking, okay, I just got to move now. I got to make the decision, because when you're looking at real estate deals, you got to just look at, is it a good deal, right? when you say you got to marry the asset and date the rate, because if not, you're waiting for this perfect time and there is no perfect time. As long as it's a good deal, then you're going to start making money. And one of my specialties is helping people to find off market properties that are already cash flowing, that already have tenants in there. The last deal that Benaisha and I did that her bank funded for me, it was a multifamily that already was like 40% occupied. Well, since then, I've put more tenants in there. So I already started making money right away. And that's how you got to kind of approach real estate, because I think they were even saying, you were telling me, we were just having a discussion before this, that prices, the thing about real estate, prices are going to continue to go up.
Yeah.
It's not like they're going to stop going up. They're going to keep going up. So you just got to make up in your mind that I got to get in and make sure it is a good deal, because if it's a good deal, it's going to cash flow for me. Benaisha, the rates, because they're not necessarily going down, but you only need, people don't even have to have perfect credit, girl,
No,
to go with your
no.
bank.
No, you don't. So we have a balance. We get creative here at Central One Lending Group, which is our commercial side and the business side. At Central One Lending Group, you just have to tell the loan officer what it is your strong point and what's your weak point. Be honest up front. If you have cash flow and your credit's not there, your experience is not there, we can work through all those challenges. It's never a no. It's how do we get to the other side? And so at this point, you just have to jump in the game. If you don't have any experience and you don't have any money, this is probably not going to be the best place for you. Please don't come over here with the I don't have any money and I don't have any credit. I just got an idea. No bank is going to want to do business with you. So don't bring that over here. Okay? Let's be realistic when it comes to elevating yourself and getting into a better position. You got to have research. You got to have knowledge. You got to have a skill in something. You have to have a team. You have to have your architectural plans if you're going to build. If you're going to put a nail in the hammer in the wall, you have to have somebody that's going to support the experience. You can't just start running to rehab something if you have no qualifiable experience. No bank is going to want to do business. So I don't want people to get it twisted just because they see someone who looks like them. They can bring any and everything here. You got to be sufficient in what you're doing. But we have removed red tape, going through the process and jumping through hoops. Everything here is going to be a direct path into ownership, whether it's commercial real estate or residential real estate. We will give you a direct path. You have to follow it, but you also have to come with the qualifiable characteristics to get the job done. So
Yeah.
again, you have good credit and no money, leverage your credit.
Exactly. And the key is, y'all, you got to get started. Like, you got to get started. Think about it like this. We just did a couple of deal evaluations on a couple of properties. Literally, they just became available. They're off market. Great deals. We got a two-family flat in the city of Detroit. It's just $72,000. I mean, that entry is just blows my mind. We probably have about $30,000 worth of rehab that needs to be done on it. The comps are going to come in probably at about 120. Okay. Not a ton of equity in the deal, but every deal is not going to have a ton of equity. The price point is still low. It's in a great area that's being revitalized, and your monthly rent on it is going to be $1,100 per door. And so now that's $2,200 a month. When we looked at the cap rate, which is basically where you take what the monthly income is going to be for the year, which is $26,000 in this case, and then we looked at what the expenses were going to be every single year. The taxes are $1,500, the insurance is $1,200 a year, and then your property manager $1,320, came to $4,400. This particular deal is gonna, your ROI is gonna be 20%.
Nice.
20%. That's, isn't it strong, right?
That's real
And then
good.
we had another one that is 110,000. Girl, the comps on that are $400,000.
Wow.
I know,
That's real
right?
good.
That's real good, right? $110,000. The rent on that is 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, upstairs and down. So it's a 3-1 on both. That's $1,400 a month. Each one, that's $2,800 per month. So now that's $29,000 a year. The cap rate on that baby is about 15%. So that's, of course you can do buy and flips, but Benaisha, you and I, we both done flips. They the most money
Right.
is when you have that cash flow coming in every single month. Because I think I was looking at, and I know you probably can speak to this too, but they were saying in the next 5 years, parents that don't buy their children property will probably not be able to afford it
Mm,
because prices are going to continue to go up where real estate is concerned.
wow. That's scary.
Girl,
That's scary.
like, yeah, it is. Like, you really got to think today. You can't just afford to just get up and be like, oh, like, no, sit down, pay attention. What am I doing? Where am I working? What am I making? What am I doing with my money? And at the end of the day, Benisha and I both got in real estate because it's probably one of the most powerful assets. Almost every, multiple millionaire and billionaire owns real estate. Why? Because at the end of the day, they're going to cash flow. People are always going to need a place to
Yeah.
stay. And so with the Wealth Chat, we're going to be giving you guys up to date information that gives you the boldness to step out. Like she said, you got to have your credit together, right? Or you got to have cash. You got to have one or the other. But if that's the case, we're going to be able to really help you. And you guys will really be able to really make some moves because we got about 6 months left, but you can make some moves and really set yourself up.
Hmm. Well, I made some notes here. So let's talk about AI, guys. I know that's a big topic. AI was dominating the entertainment industry because they're now taking people's voice and recreating it. You never have to leave your home. They created your body, your voice. They put you in a whole movie and you never signed off on it, right? So I know that was a big deal in the entertainment business, but AI has now come into banking. So banking has what's called reg tech. Be advised,
Mm,
this is not something to play with, okay? You already know
mm,
AI can repeat almost anything that's out there. We see videos of whole things going on. You think it's absolutely real. It's AI. Now, AI is going to be looking for fraud.
mm,
AI is going to be looking for compliance and regulatory within banking. It is
mm,
going to scan a large amount of data in a short period of time to look for patterns of trends.
mm,
So when it comes to banking, I can tell you, I've never had this experience so far. Thank God. I don't get a lot of people coming in doing fraud, right? However, if you are or you try to create some bank statements or do anything that is not the proper documentation, it will be discovered. This system is so savvy and so smart, it will identify even down to numbers, computers that have generated forms,
mm,
IP addresses, connecting it to all different sources. This is just not something that you want to just play around with. So I would steer away from duplicate applications, multiple places. If
mm.
you're going to banks and maybe you do a application here and then you fill out another application at another institution and you don't put the same thing, it's scanning and cross-referencing everything.
Okay, so
And this
wait, I
is
gotta ask you this. Hey, Bobby. Bobby said, "Hey, girl." Okay, so if somebody, because a lot of times when people are trying to get business credit cards or business lines of credit to help do rehabs and stuff like that, if they go to Chase Bank and then Wells Fargo, if they're putting the same information down, that's legal and okay. It's just
yes,
not okay if they're putting down two different things.
correct.
Okay.
It's one database. So whether you go here or there,
Yeah.
this database is across the board. So it's definitely going to pick up. Like I know, for instance, FHA home loans, if you do anything that they deem to be inappropriate, they can stop you from getting an FHA loan, for the rest of your life. They have a
Mm,
case number that they will attach to you, and that case number will
mm,
follow you based on your social. So you can't say, well, it's been a couple of years. I haven't applied for anything. Let me see if I can do it again. It's gonna be stopped. Like
mm,
the computer is definitely going to register everything, good, bad, and indifferent, and generate reports, and then the next thing you know is getting to the FBI or on some type of
mm,
fraud list. You just don't want to be in any of those spaces when it comes to
mm,
real estate. So now is the time when you got to get your stuff in order. Make sure your credit is clean. Make sure that your statements are in order. Any documentation, any state documents that you provide, they'll be able to find any UCC filings for your businesses really quick. And then on the good side, the underwriting process will be more sufficient.
mm.
Won't have to take 48 hours for an underwriter to review stuff. So ultimately, it's graduating and growing into a
Yeah.
good space. It's just like make sure that you are covering yourself on all bases.
Yeah, that's so good. And another way we started using AI, and that's a really good point. You definitely want to just be above the board. It's just not even worth it at this point. that to basically look at zip codes that have the most economic revitalization, even from a charity standpoint. I started doing like places that I was buying, asking what were some of the economic needs of those from a charity component. You being a real estate investor is important. What are some of the economic needs of the three closest high schools that are around the zip codes that you're investing in? And then a lot of times, there are companies looking to partner up with that kind of initiative. Benaisha, we a couple years ago, we actually were able to take and get computers from a refurbished company outside of California. And basically, what they did, they would go to Google and Apple and say, "Hey, give us all your old software." They would refurbish it, and then they sold it to us for very much a discounted price. And we were able to give it to 100 students in the inner city of Detroit. And then we found out that their children's parents didn't have Wi-Fi. And so Comcast came on and gave them Wi-Fi for 1 year. So AI will help you kind of
Mhm.
identify who are involved with some of the real estate investing initiatives that you want to do and really help to build out for you the best places to buy in a city. And also you can ask questions like, what is it expected to be in 5 years? What is it expected to be in 7 years? What is, like Section 8 just did an update on their numbers for rent, and somebody sent me something. I didn't see it. Girl, I just asked AI and it told me Section 8 right now, and these zip codes are paying, for 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom, and 5 bedroom. So as an investor, it's just going to help us all to have more accuracy and precision in our decision making. And I think we all got to get used to using it every day. That's the key is start asking it all the things and it just 10x's what's going on in your brain.
I love ChatGPT.
Child
Sometimes
girl,
we're
listen.
like, oh, we got a pain on our neck. What is it? ChatGPT. Everything is ChatGPT now. I love it.
Yes.
Okay, y'all. And then don't forget, AI also can help with threats. So when you get a lot of you hear on the news where something's been compromised, something shut down, somebody's deposits didn't go through, any type of hacking and stuff like that, AI is going to help eliminate that kind of stuff and help combat those kind of things from happening as well. Okay, next topic, y'all. We know the tariffs are a real thing, right? It's not going away. But people are concerned, how are the tariffs affecting the actual real estate market? So we finally have a number on what the new home prices are going to be
Mm.
increased by
Ooh,
with these tariffs, right? So the magic
wow.
number, can anybody guess what that number is? Put it in the chat. If you guys are sick and
Girl.
put it in the chat what you think the increase is looking like
Mm.
on new homes.
Mm. Wow. I can't wait to hear that.
Yeah, I want to see what people think. What do you think
Yeah,
the
put the number
average
in
new
there
home is
because of
increasing by?
tariffs.
Is it increasing by $1,000? Is it
Mm.
increasing by $100,000? What do you guys think
Mm.
the average home price has increased by with the new implemented tariffs? And we're going to go by what's going on in the United States because the United States typically gets a lot of lumber from Canada. So keep that in mind.
Oh, that's good. Okay, somebody said 15%. Dr. Angela said 15%. Juana said 15%. Okay. All right. Marie said 25%.
Okay.
Hmm. Wow. So new homes are going up by somebody said $50,000.
All right, guys. So I'll give you the answer. So right now, the new tariffs estimated increase is about $10,900
Mm.
for every home price. So if your home price was $400,000, it is now 410,900,
Wow.
and that is an average across the board in the United States in all U.S. cities with new construction.
Mm.
Right now, the
Wow.
builders are having to deal with it. It is what it is. It's nothing that they can do, and
Mm.
ultimately it is causing an affordability issue for the average American. I know the last report that I read yesterday, the average American is definitely, they're having problems
Wow.
financially. There are some restraints that have been placed on them. Some people can't even buy groceries. They can't.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so the affordability concern for new housing is definitely an issue. For the average person, $10,900, it impacting those who are looking in the market. But
Yeah.
we also have to think of ways to continue to navigate And so builders are looking at price locks. So what that means is that when they have more flexibility in what they were doing with pricing and giving away money to consumers, even though we're in a buyer's market, they are locking the prices. So some of that flexibility is not there anymore because they have to make the money back based on the increase of the price. And they're also locking deals with vendors who are supplying lumber. And so ultimately, you know, they're creating their own foundations, but it still doesn't have anything to do with us. So we gotta just keep going, like we keep saying, like this is a running thing. You gotta just keep moving. You can't focus on all the extra stuff. If you want to be an investor, it's not an easy game to get into.
It's not an easy game to get into. It's not, but it's possible. And that's why Benaisha and I teamed up because we want to see more people of color come into the space because this is going to be the only way to close the wealth gap is with equity. And if you don't own a home, if you don't invest, if you're not an investor, then that means you're going to probably, or you even own your own home, it means you're going to end up really having some pressure put on you because rent is going to keep going up. You
Yeah.
know, when Cyrene, our youngest daughter, graduated from Howard, she was renting and she was paying like she's in DC, you know, and she's paying 2,500. And then the rent up went up to like 2,850, and I was like, child,
Mm. Not for
you
rent.
know,
You can get a whole two multifamily for the same price, you know, somewhere else.
we're not doing it. We're not doing it. And so we
Yeah.
found a really cute guy and for 700, I think, and 25,000. And she told me that's been like going on 3 years. And I think she told me it's coming in right at a mill. It's in DC. You know how that goes. But
Hmm.
the point is, you have to get yourself in a position to own your own home, and then you got to get yourself in a position to invest. Because one thing about it, when you study the lives of the wealthy, people that are worth multiple millions and billions, all of them have real estate in their portfolio because that first year or two might be uncomfortable. But when you get to that third and fourth year, because rent is going to continue to be raised as long as you're maintaining the property like you're supposed to, and you're going to look up and it's going to start feeling good, right? The first couple years is kind of like, you know,
Right.
maybe, you know, you just making sure you're paying the mortgage and stabilizing, getting the property stabilized with good paying, clean tenants and all that. But once you get past that, it really does become it's a really great feeling. And we want everybody to have that. And like you said, you can't focus on all the things. We wanted to bring awareness on all the things so you can hopefully kind of wake up and say, you know what? They right. I better get moving. I
Mhm.
better go ahead and grab a duplex, and maybe that's you living in one unit and rent out the other. Or maybe if you get a 4 unit, you live in one and rent out the other three. But you really, this is a time where you really have to think creatively and you have to be very aggressive. You cannot be passive right now. You got to be willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that you and your family are successful because money impacts so many areas of our lives from the schools your children go to, the grocery, the grocery shopping where you do your grocery shopping, what you eat, just so many things. And so for so many reasons, we want you all to experience wealth and just realize it's going to be some sacrifice, but it's going to be worth it.
Yes. Okay, let's talk about these single family home buyers. We are in a complete buyer's market. And what does that mean? That means that power buyers, you have the power. That means that there are more listings on the market than there are buyers. When there are more listings, more homes on the market, guess what they want to do? Negotiate, because people want you to pick their property. So what happens when you're able to negotiate? The key factor that you have to remember when it comes to buying a home, or whether it's your primary home or an investment property, is get the
Yeah.
seller to pay some of your closing costs. That
Mhm.
is the first thing you want to do when you're navigating in a space of buying. Closing costs that can go up to 6% for some of the home loans that we know, FHA, conventional. Um, and the sellers can actually contribute towards that. So what does that do? That
Your
reduces
reminder.
some of your costs that you have to bring to the table. Some people are walking into the door with little to no money out of their pocket. And we also have programs for home ownership where you can actually get the down payment and closing costs from the financial institution. And so
Nice.
that's under prime1homeloans.com. If you click the link in my bio and select the Prime One link, that will take you to the residential department. And the program is with a 600 credit score. We will give you the down payment and the closing costs. And if there's anything in addition that you need, let the loan officer know and they can help you. But ultimately, there's no excuse in the United States, particularly, to stop renting and get into a home. There's no excuse. There's nothing stopping you except you. If you don't have the credit score, there are too many avenues and too many places that can help you build your credit or help you reestablish your credit or restructure your credit, either if you have to add trade lines or something just to get in a better position. But ultimately, because we're in a buyer's market, this is the best time to buy. Now, when you buy in a buyer's market, of course, the interest rates are a little bit higher right now. But what do we always say, Jewel, when it comes to interest rates?
You date the rate and you marry the asset, baby.
Marry that
You
asset
better.
and date the rate. So that rate will come and go. You are in a dating relationship, but guess what? We could replace you if you act crazy,
Mhm.
right? We don't have time to play with you. If it goes down, we're gonna go over here and with somebody else. But we are married to this home that we buy. And so don't worry about the 5 and 6%. There's nothing lower than that unless you buy it down. You have to pay to get a lower rate. I talked about that this week in Atlanta. If you want to get down to a lower rate, the lowest you can go is probably a 4%, but you got to pay to get that. It's not
Yeah.
automatic. It doesn't exist. So you can always buy down your rate. That is a real program,
Mhm.
but the average rate is going to be between 5 and 6%.
Yeah. That's so good. And we're going to have somebody there August 15th and 16th in Detroit at the real estate field trip. The Benaisha and I will both be there and some other amazing people, a credit girl. Because sometimes people will say, oh, my credit, but child, that can be fixed. I mean, it's
Yes.
last year, this time I had over 20 hard inquiries on there just from doing deals after deals. So as an investor, you really need to get a good credit strategist on there and not be thinking, I don't want to do this. I mean, now if you say, hey, I'm gonna wait to buy this house, I mean, wait to buy this car, or wait to, do something fun like vacation. But when it comes to investing, you just have to know you're always going to have to be getting the hard inquiries off, if nothing
Yeah.
else, because as an investor, you're going to be, they're going to be applying for loans for you, the best, trying to get the best rate for you. So we're going to have a credit specialist there. We don't want that to stop you. You just have to know that's just something else. There's so many different people that are part of the real estate transaction deal, which is again why you need a community, you need a bank like Benaisha, you need somebody like me that's on the ground, that's doing these deals, that's looking at the numbers. Like you want somebody that's really doing this full time. She's not doing this part time. I'm not doing this part time. Like I'm a full time investor. She's a full time banker and investor. Like this is what we do for real. So I'm excited about you guys being able to get in, plug in. Make sure you subscribe right now. Go to the Wealth Chat on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and like that, hit the like button. And then, of course, make sure you follow us so you can continue to get up to date information on what's happening in the wonderful world of investing. So that was good,
Yes.
sister. Do we have anything else, or did we
We
cover everything
do.
today?
Okay, so we're gonna wrap it up, but we're gonna talk about commercial real estate because a lot of times people leave that out of the conversation because
Oh,
it's such an elevated conversation that some
yeah,
people are so focused on buying a first
yeah.
home, buying an investment property that we forget about real true commercial buildings and real estate. So right now the commercial real estate market, the rates are coming down, right?
Mm,
They've been coming down for the last year. And so stabilized rates right now at Central One Lending Group are going to run between 7 and 9%. And if you have something in your portfolio that can help you bring it down lower, there's a potential to get a lower rate than the 7%. But right now
Nice.
it's kind of holding steadfast at 7 to 9%. A lot of complicated refinance deals are starting to expire right now. What does that mean? If you have invested in real estate, commercial particular, there are loan products that are short-term loans. Short-term loans are new construction loans, rehab loans, fix and flip loans, renovation loans. Those are all short-term loans. And there's another important short-term loan that a lot of people get. It's called a bridge loan. So a bridge loan is just that. You think of a bridge. You're here, your destination is here. I just want to get over here. So what do? Is I take a bridge. Bridges are typically 6 to 12 months. And people utilize these loans for really, really high profile transactions, such as hotel purchases, big apartment complexes with multiple units, not the smaller ones, but maybe like 6,000 units and above. And so what they're doing is it's a short term leverage to get from here to here, but you have to have an exit strategy on all of those short term loans. And so what happens is that when you get a new construction loan, so today is June 1st, I want to build, they're going to give me 12 months to build. So by June 1st of 2026, I need to be finished. But let's just say I ran into a situation where it took longer than I expected, or I've already completed the construction, but guess what? I haven't sold the home yet. I'm still locked into this construction loan. My exit strategy either needs to be that I need to get into a 30-year fixed loan, or I need to call my bank as soon as possible and say, hey, I got a little situation. I need an extension. Some do it or some don't do that. But the last case scenario is that I just need to exit. And so ultimately, if you are coming up on your loan, what does it do when it comes to June 1st of 2026 and you haven't gotten out of that loan and you have not sold that property? That payment will balloon. So what essentially could be $20,000 a month will turn into $60,000 a month with interest added on top of it. A lot of people are running into a lot of situations right now where their loans are expiring. And so the banks are now having to restructure these loans that they thought would automatically be paid off a year ago. And so that is a big deal. That's a problem for a lot of people financially, because
Yeah.
by the time you get to the end of this, you typically call any financial institution that can help you because you're in a crisis. Maybe you've over leveraged your credit cards by this time because things are just not going as planned. When you build a house or when you renovate and you're the owner and you're trying to sell it, it's not just selling a house. You actually got to keep the lights on because people got to walk in and out. You got to keep the water on because if you get an application or someone wanting to do a contract, guess what? They want to test all these things and make sure the waters actually work. You got to have, it costs you ultimately taxes that you're paying that you have to continue to pay for. And so throughout your process. So it's not just buying a piece of land and building on it. There are other things that are going to drive up the cost. And so, as well as contractors, if you had to pay them to do the work, and then let's just say they come in and don't do a good job. Now you got to pay somebody else to come in and fix what you pay somebody else to do, or that they messed up. It's just a mess. So if you don't prepare yourself financially, it could cost you a lot.
Yeah.
Another thing is office spaces. We all knew that after COVID, a lot of people didn't go back to work. The hybrid working remotely theory has been thriving, right? A lot of people don't want to go back to these offices, and they are still sitting vacant to this day. So what's happening is that about a year ago, we started to see a lot of office building now turning into what? Apartment complexes,
Residential.
or places where they're housing people, right? And so this is something that is still going on. Office spaces are still vacant and the conversion is still happening, but that's something that we're going to have to walk through. And lastly,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't talk about how much debt commercial real estate really holds. And right now, the number is totaling about $4.7 trillion dollars
Wow.
in the United States in
Wow.
commercial real estate debt. So that's the total of all those people who either took loans for any type of commercial product, and it is coming to expire. And now we're in a situation. So it's a lot. It's a lot going
A
on.
lot. Which, well, you know what? It leads me to the point of, I think somebody recently trying to buy a commercial building for like, I don't know, it's like maybe 27,000 square feet. And she was so excited. She was trying to raise capital for it. And I said, baby, what are you trying to do? Why are you trying to buy in a commercial space when you see these commercial buildings are sitting
Mhm.
all over the place? You do not have a history of event space. It's already
Yeah.
stressful. It just, I don't think it's a good investment unless you really have a concrete
Right.
plan and you have some experience, or at least a business partner has some experience. Because otherwise, I mean, look at all these companies, they're not going back. I mean, you go into banks, you go into stores, and you're seeing less and less people there. And you have companies like Zoom and Twitter and a whole host of companies who said, we're not even going back to the office, right? We are going to be doing virtual because it saved us 70% of expenses or whatever those numbers are. So I think when you look at commercial, I think multifamily, which is 4 doors or more, residential, because they're going to always need a place to stay. But
Hmm.
I would say if for people that are in commercial real estate or looking to get into it, you really need to know what you're doing at a much higher level so that that building is not staying empty.
Exactly. Well, I got the four top things that people are buying right now in commercial real estate. And those four things are going to be apartment complexes,
Hmm.
it's going to be warehouses, any type of retail space, and hotels. Those are the three
Mm,
divisions that are prospering right now. So if you're interested in commercial real estate, tap into those four type of
mm,
products. They are propelling and in high demand. So if you own
mm.
something like that, it may be the time to sell if you're interested.
Yeah. Oh, that's good, girl. That's
Mhm.
really good. All right, so listen, this has been so good. I hope you guys got a lot of good tea from this. We did say, yep, the Well Chat on YouTube. Please make sure you follow there. What are good commercial investments for first time in commercial? She just gave you the tea on that. Thanks so much for jumping on here. Don't forget, get your tickets August 15th and 16th in Detroit. Get on jeweltankardevents.com. Benaisha and I will be there, and a host of other amazing, brilliant minds in real estate. We want to see you really take territory and get your equity up. All right. So, all right, girl, this is fun.
Good. If you guys are interested in funding, click the links in my bio. Prime One Home Loans is the residential side, and Central One Lending Group, commercial real estate, business funding, and international real estate side. And you guys can visit the websites and check out all the information on there.
Absolutely. All right. See y'all later. Bye,
Follow
boo.
us too. Follow us too. Bye, y'all.
Yes, bye.